Raptors fans, you want your Canadian content, you're getting it because the Raps get the win. And AJ Lawson is your player of the game. He got the chain at the end of the game. This is Raptors today with a bunch of Canadians kicking it. That's Sherman Hamilton. That's Paul Jones. I'm Akil Augustine. We are at a very strange point in a very strange season, so I always turn to my OGs to help contextualize Raptors brand basketball as we move forward. But first off, we got to give flowers where flowers is due. Kids born in Mississauga. Well, he was born in Brampton, raised and played high school ball in Mississauga, played with the 905. The entire 905 staff was actually in the building. Some people said the Raptors 905 actually beat the Washington Wizards last night. I didn't say that. That's a joke in the streets. But I want to give credit to AJ Lawson and also talk about what's happening with the player development side of the Toronto Raptors because people feel like they moved away from that a little bit. But we saw this year the strides and the movements that players on this back end of the bench have made. Start with AJ. You go, Principal.
Well, I don't know. You gave me a lot to chew on there.
Yeah.
First of all, let's talk about the player development side. The Raptors have always been known for that.
Yeah, we're trying to avoid talking about the Wizards.
Even though there's been, as you said, a little bit of a dip, it's all relative compared to with what they were trying to do. Last year was a tumultuous year with the trade in the middle of the season. You went from established players to getting some new players in, young new players, RJ quickly, people like that, and then working on their development in season.
Yeah.
It's different when you have an off season or you can have some time to plan it. And then we see what's happening with 905 this year, giving us, a Jamison battle. You look at what AJ Lawson has done. And
I feel bad for the 905 because they actually had a championship level contending team, but because the Raptors needed those guys, they were stripped of a lot of players that they developed.
Well, I mean, it's hard. Like you think about the last time they won that championship.
Yeah.
Those guys were on the shuttle going back and forth. When you think about Fred, Pascal, Norm, Pirtle, all those guys going back and forth, how good the G League team
and you
was.
had Chris
Boucher. So, listen, I feel great for AJ Lawson. Like you said, Toronto kid, teammate of RJ Barrett, going all the way back to grade school. He got a chance. I love his game. He plays hard. I think he can guard people. He's not out there just hunting shots. He takes the right shots. I like his game.
He had 16 in the first half. His career high at that point had been 17. Sure, we talked earlier in the week about what he needs to do, and we talked about the little things, the defense. I don't know, man. I looked out there and I saw an NBA player when I looked at AJ.
Oh, he's definitely an NBA player.
Yeah.
No question about it. But, look at the 12 rebounds as well. Mm-hmm. So he's out there. He's giving it to you defensively from an effort perspective. He's on the glass. He's impacting winning by getting on the glass. And I love the idea of getting an opportunity and not being shy. Mm-hmm. He went out there. He saw shots. He saw it within the flow, and he didn't shy away from it. And
Extra passes, too?
Absolutely. He was making the right play. So, yes, the field goal percentage dipped a bit, missing a few threes in the second, a few shots in the second half. But his first half was efficient. Second half, he kept on scoring and looking for a shot. And when you get hot like that, that's what your team's supposed to do and you're supposed to do. Keep the hot hand going.
He took good shots in the second half. He may not have made them all, but like I said earlier, I don't think he was hunting shots and taking bad shots. So, look, the kid had a career night. Good for him.
Okay, props to the Toronto Raptors for finding some Canadian content. I always love when those guys get the opportunity with the hometown team. Jake, where are we going next?
Coach Sound.
We got Coach right now.
When the word development is thrown out there every single day, basically, how satisfying is it to see a guy like AJ Lawson, a guy like AJ Lawson have, I don't want to call it a breakout game, but a game that he did last night? And was there anything eye-opening for you about it?
I mean, he had a tremendous performance, scored 32 points, shot the ball well from three-point line. He was playmaking well. I thought he played good defense as well. He got in a foul trouble early in the game, but he was able to manage it throughout the course of the game, finished the game with 12 rebounds. I thought that he played great, and it's really nice to see how whole team embraced him and Jared and Colin and all of those guys, the way they're sharing the ball, encouraging them, building them up. And, AJ is local kid from Toronto, so it's amazing. The other night when I started him for the first time, I was there in that like introduction line. You should see his face. Like there was not happier man on planet at that point. So it's very special to have a local kid that can step on the floor and contribute in the way he is.
Back at it, talking Raptors brand basketball, and we kind of sort of touched on the 2-game series with the Wizards, more in the context of players getting opportunities. We talked about AJ Lawson. We got to give props to Jamal Shead. This is a guy who, first off, game winner, game blouses, I don't care, frame short, kind of the perfect situation depending on what type of Raptors fan you are, because you kind of get the positive experience of the game winner, but at the same time helps the standings. But I want to talk about this guy showing out to the point where the Raptors felt comfortable at the trade deadline, trading Davion Mitchell, a stalwart, the head of the snake on defense, and they've kind of given this kid an opportunity. Sherm, where does he go next? I know at the beginning of the year we're all saying Fred VanVleet 2 or whatever, but like we've seen a body of work.
Yeah, he's different than Fred VanVleet. Fred was the type of player who played less athletically.
Yeah. So you're talking about that putback dunk.
Not only that, but Jamal Shead, he could play football. He's got speed, he's powerful, he can elevate. Fred didn't have that kind of game. Fred was just a monster in terms of figuring things out and dissecting people and taking advantage of weaknesses.
And further along with the shot.
Yeah, and Jamal Shead, he will overpower bigger players.
Yeah.
He will try to go over bigger players. He is an aggressive, attacking type of mentality with physicality. What I really have liked about Jamal Shead's game throughout the course of this season is the question was, could he shoot it?
Yes, that was the question.
He made shots. Yeah. He's made enough shots. He continues to make shots.
Shout out to RJ for giving him the courage.
Well, absolutely. RJ's a really good leader too.
Yes, he is.
We give RJ his props. He's done a great job kind of getting this group together. But Jamal Shead not only proved he could shoot it, what he's done is he's showing his decision making, his level to understand what's needed in what moment. It's growing. And to me, that's, if you have a point guard that's undersized, you've got to be able to run a team, and then you've got to be able to make plays. And he's showing both of those areas improving consistently. I really like what I've seen from him.
At one point I was looking at the court, right? You had the 4-year Houston Cougar guy, and then you had AJ Johnson, no disrespect. I think I got the name right. The point guard, the first-year point guard.
From Australia, from Washington.
These are both rookies, but
Listen, I can go back to when Sherman and I were doing Gate 5, and we've always said this. I've always maintained this. People grow, mature, and kind of get it at different rates. Some people in drafts shy away from a 4-year player, thinking that, if he was any good, he would have been kind of grabbed on his potential.
I feel like that was the consensus for a good 6-7 year stretch
it
with
was,
the NBA.
But then people started to see, look at the strides Jamal Shead has made this year, coming in as a 4-year player out of a good program, being coached by a good coach who is demanding and is not afraid to coach you, and now Jamal comes to the NBA. Look at the distance from what maybe the expectations were.
Yeah, I was using AJ Johnson as a comparison point.
Right, to where he's covered or to where he's come now, Jamal, to the point where, as you said, and it's not like he didn't learn stuff from Davion too. This kid has his eyes and ears open, and he's learning. And to the point where they said, you know what, we're okay to move Davion because we think Jamal can give us that, and maybe he's got a higher ceiling. And it starts with a 4-year player who you're not trying to teach basketball. You're trying to teach more of the NBA game than just some of the concepts in the game from a guy who's one and done, who had a year of college after AAU, and now he comes to play with
usually that's a year that's coddled because you're afraid of the kid because blah, blah, blah,
and
blah.
now he comes to play with grown men, and things are very, very different.
Now, Sherm, for you, Yak back. A game ago, I think he was absolutely dominant against Sar, especially in that first half. But now, how much do we expect to see, or how much do we even want to see from Yak? Because we're getting a really good look at Orlando Robinson, who I have liked in the minutes he's played. He uses his big body, a lot more mobile, and I've seen a bit of Castleton, and I'd like to see more. So how much do we even expect to see of Yak?
Well, I think they're going to do it very,
By committee. Center by committee.
It's going to be more judiciously in terms of the minutes that he'll play.
Yes.
And rightfully so. And I think we're going to see that across the board with the players that we know of. But guys like Castleton, guys like Robinson, Roden, all these guys are going to get minutes. Lawson, they're all going to get minutes. And the organization is going to get a very, very good, in-depth look at these young men. Multiple situations. But here's the other thing, too.
Honestly.
We can talk about the organization, but the reality is they're playing for 29 other teams as well.
Yeah, forever on tryout.
This is what their opportunities entail.
But I look across the league and I see a lot of teams doing this, all right? But I actually like each individual player that we have, that we've actually gotten an extended look at. Castleton maybe not so much. I can't say that I've seen an end of season where you're in a similar scenario to this, where I've actually liked each individual guy who's gotten the opportunity. I'm impressed by what's happening in the back.
I hear what you're saying, Akil. It's not a situation where you bring a guy in, you test him out, you go, no, it's not working, and you get rid of him, right?
I want each one of these guys back at the end of the bench next year.
These guys have shown themselves. And when I think about the bigs in particular, Orlando Robinson, what I like is he plays like a traditional big at times, right? Very much like Pirtle in that sense, where he will play in the low post. He will make the passes from the elbow. Occasionally he steps out, but he's banging on the glass. He's guarding people down there. He's physical. And in the 2 games that I've seen from Castleton, I see a lot of the same. He's not afraid to be on the inside and fight for rebounds and mix it up down there and play like a big guy, even though you can see that there's a hint of perimeter skills there, of a skill set on the perimeter.
He is low into that shot, too.
Yeah.
I like the weight
So
of his legs.
I'm with you, though. I like Roden, Lawson, Castleton, Robinson. I think these guys have all shown well. And there is a situation where you could conceivably see, hey, well, you know what? We'll keep this guy to fill out the end of the bench.
I'm a fan. Enough from us, though. It's time to head to the players. I do believe we've got the big guy, Yak, speaking. So let's listen to Yak.
I was curious, we're going to be speaking to Jamal in a couple of minutes. What's it been like getting to know him and seeing his game develop over his rookie season?
It's been impressive to watch. It's very mature for his age. Like I think the development, like the boost in confidence, like all the you just see he has a different presence on the court now than he had early in the season, which, I mean, obviously everybody kind of goes through that process. Like you get here at first and it's like, whoa, it's a completely new environment. Like you got to get adjusted to a bunch of things. But I think he managed to do it very quickly and has made steps forward that, I don't know, I've not seen a lot of rookies make, like where he's like in like a legit, like kind of like a leadership role in his rookie year, which it's kind of what you want from your point guard, because like they're like the floor generals out there. They're supposed to get everybody on the same page. So seeing those kind of signs in him early is I think really positive and a good sign for the future.
What did you think of his dunk last night?
I thought it was really cool. I think you could see the reaction on the bench. Everybody was pretty hyped up. I wish it didn't get caught on the rim. It would have looked even cooler, but.
You guys almost trampled Darko trying to rush Jamal there.
I didn't notice Darko, so yeah, that sounds legit.
We obviously spoke with Coach and Yak, and they're talking about how much you've developed as a player over the course of the season so far. What's been your personal focus in terms of, evolving your game and, playing at the NBA level?
Lots of film and just paying attention. The first thing Coach talked to me about was just being like a junkie with film. Just noticing where you can attack, where you can't attack. Fouls here and there, just little things, but just paying attention to every single detail and trying to figure out how I can impact that. So I think I'm figuring it out a little bit more. But, obviously I still have a lot to learn. It's year one, and there's a lot of tricks and stuff that I can learn from a lot of guys. And, going home and having to work out with Alex Caruso, I'm going to use him all summer.
A few of us were in the locker room last night when Scotty, RJ, and Garrett were giving you maybe a bit of a hard time about your dunk,
right?
The quality of it. it was really clear how much they love you and respect you, and like you just seamlessly fit into that locker room. What's been that process been like, getting to know those veterans and just, becoming part of the team, sort of like culturally in the locker room, team dinners, stuff like that?
We don't have egos in our locker room. I think when you're surrounded by good people, you have no choice but to be a good person also. All of our leaders, and Scotty, RJ, Garrett, Quick, Yacht, those are great people, on and off the court. So, we built a relationship, a certain level of respect from Miami, from Spain, just being around them, hanging out, them making an effort. When we were in Spain, everybody made an effort to go to dinner together. Everybody makes an effort to go to dinner in certain cities. We like to hang out together. So just them making that effort and, wanting to be around us, it went a long way.
I'm TJ Ford, and you're watching the Raptors YouTube channel. Check out our latest videos and subscribe to our YouTube page.
Works right into the lane, puts it up and in! TJ runs away, fades, fires, Timeout,